Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about Speakly, one of the most comprehensive language learning apps that I've seen in the market so far. And this video is sponsored by Speakly. However, I don't have a script or anything, so I'm going to be reviewing the app and I'm going to tell you what are the things that I really like and what are the things that I think need supplemental material for you to really be able to learn a language fully. So if you're interested in learning any of these 8 languages, definitely continue watching the video. If you want to get Speakly, the first thing that you need to do is go to the App Store and download it from there. After that, once you download it and you open it, it's going to ask you what language you want to learn and how many words you want to learn every day. This app concentrates on vocabulary acquisition. I've explained that vocabulary acquisition has been one of the most important things for me to learn a language. I've shown this little graph before, and I think that it is just super useful to correlate your level with the number of words that you learn. So the cool thing about Speakly is that it will teach you the 4,000 most relevant words in the language that you choose to learn, and this will put you at around the B2 level. Obviously, there are nuances with that, but it is kind of like the approximate level that you would have if you do keep up with the app and you learn the 4,000 words. The reason why I think this app is special is because aside from the vocabulary acquisition part of it, you also drill your listening, and something that I have never really noticed in other language learning apps is that they also have a grammar guide. And the fourth thing, which I find really cool, is that you can also practice your speaking. So I'm going to go into all of those skills and I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's start with the vocabulary section. The vocabulary section is very simple. You just go to My Classroom, and then from there it will show you all the levels that Speakly has for your language. It has beginner, intermediate, and advanced, and each level has a subdivision. So based on where you are, you're going to learn a certain amount of words. As you can see from the app will take you all the way from 0 words to 4,000 words. So I think that that is an incredibly cool way to do it, and I will show you the vocabulary exercises that you will do. So I'm just going to choose the intermediate level for French. So you can see I'm just gonna continue studying. So as you can probably tell, in this exercise, the phrases are very similar to each other, which is helpful because it adds a degree of difficulty to the multiple choice questions. So here is he sent, il a envoyé des fleurs à sa femme. One other thing is that you can have the voice repeat itself so that you can hear the correct pronunciation.
Il a envoyé des fleurs à sa femme.
And if you need any grammar pointers, you can just click on the book, the little book underneath the exercise, and it will tell you certain grammar pointers, like for example, what verb tense is the verb conjugated in, also how you negate it, and how you form a question with it. So I think that that's interesting, and you can also look at the verb tables to see how you can conjugate it in different tenses. And one of the coolest exercises that I find in the vocabulary section is this one, because you basically talk to your phone and then the app registers whether you make a pronunciation mistake, and if you do, it will underline it in red. Rien de nouveau sous le soleil.
Rien de nouveau sous le soleil.
One thing I will say is that the pronunciation correction thing is not absolutely perfect. I hope that they update it so that it's a little bit more nuanced and that it can correct like your pronunciation perfectly. I don't think that it does that right now because I tried to make some mistakes and it didn't correct them. So I'm not sure how that works, because in some cases it did correct my mistakes and in some others it didn't. So I think that it needs a little bit more work in that aspect. I think it's still useful, however, because even though it might not correct all of your mistakes, it does correct some. And one thing that you have also is that you immediately compare your own pronunciation to the correct pronunciation of a native speaker, which is just right there underneath the exercise. Finally, for the vocabulary section, if you complete several levels and you think that you've forgotten some of the vocabulary, but the good thing is that Speakly divides everything by beginner, intermediate, advanced, and you can go back to the beginner level and review all of the beginner vocabulary or the intermediate vocabulary. So that is also a cool feature. And with that, I'm going to go to the speaking section, which I think is the second best amazing feature of this app. Now, live situations are probably the reason why the app is called Speakly. I think that it is one of the few apps, if not the only one, that I've seen has a live situation. So let's do the one that I just unlocked, which is this one, the 102 Vendeur. So basically, the idea of life situations is to get you practicing conversations that you might have with native speakers. So as I said, this conversation is going to take place in the context of a bookstore. And it says, while waiting for a friend who's always late, you've decided to step into a small bookstore. So let's see how that looks like.
Bonjour, puis-je vous aider?
Non merci, c'est bon, je suis en train de regarder seulement.
Non merci, je ne fais que regarder.
Non merci, je ne fais que regarder.
D'accord. Dites-moi si vous avez des questions.
Bien sûr, je vais vous démontrer si j'ai des questions.
Bien sûr, je demanderai si jamais j'ai une question.
I guess I didn't make a mistake when I guessed how to translate the little phrase, but I guess a better way to say it would be si jamais j'ai une question, and not just si j'ai une question. Donc, so you can like correct yourself as you go, and also obviously be writing this on a notebook. Bien sûr, je demanderai si jamais j'ai une question. And then towards the end, you just get a summary of the live situation. You can also repeat the exercise and go to other live situations. There are hundreds of them, so you can practice several live situations. And I think that this is a great way for you to practice your speaking if you are not comfortable with practicing with someone else, or you don't have a native speaker nearby, or you don't have money for a tutor. I think that this app is a great way for you to get your feet wet and start treading the path of speaking the language that you want to be fluent in. So aside from the vocabulary and the speaking exercises, you also have listening exercises where you get to listen to 3 minutes of French, and basically this is just to test yourself and see if you can understand as much as possible from that audio. You also have a text integrated with that, and there are no drills or exercises related to the listening section. But you can test your listening just by seeing if you can understand what the French speaker is saying. The second thing is a grammar guide. Speakly has an integrated grammar guide aside from the pointers, like the grammar pointers that I showed you in the vocabulary section that are specific to each exercise. They also have an integrated grammar guide, and I think that that is very particular because I haven't seen other apps have an integrated grammar guide, and I think that this is helpful if you want to understand the language a little bit better. Now the grammar guide is basic. It teaches you like the most basic stuff, like the past tense, the present tense, and the future tense, the articles, and other basic things, so that you can have a better idea of the structure of the language. However, if you want to get super good at the language, I would recommend that you buy supplemental material like other grammar textbooks that go a little bit more in depth into the grammar of the language. And however, I think that in order to start, I think that the grammar guide is really good. And also I like that it's a little bit basic because it doesn't confuse you with a lot of advanced things that you don't need to understand at the beginning. And the interesting perk that you have with this app is that you also get hundreds of music recommendations, song recommendations if you want to practice the language in that way, or in a way that's a little bit more relaxed. I think that the Speakly has an entire catalog of songs that you can start listening to on Spotify or on iTunes. So with that, guys, I am going to conclude this video. It has been very fun to work with Speakly, and you can download it if you click in the link down below in the description. And with that, I will say goodbye until the next video.